All right, guys, my name is Mackenzie with Lafontaine Classic Cars, and this is a 1971 280 SL Mercedes. This is like none other on the road, probably none other on the planet. I'm gonna give you just a peek of this before we get into it. This is a Pro Touring Restomod with the big V8. All right, guys, so I wanna tell you about this car here. We're gonna get into it in a moment. You saw that crazy Ford 5-liter under the hood. Some people, when this car was coming together, probably were telling this guy, "You're crazy. What are you doing putting a Ford motor, all this crazy driveline in this lovely 71 Mercedes?" And this guy here, I really think he was onto something. And when we show you this car going down the road, we're going to show you the underbody as well. You'll see to the level it's been done. It gives this car all the power it deserves. It makes it incredibly drivable, incredibly serviceable. And it is incredibly reliable, guys. It has a ton of kick, a ton of power. He did this thing up to the nines. It is very impressive up top. This paint job is absolutely flawless. You see right here in the middle, there is a lovely pinstripe as well. These newer Mercedes wheels on here look very nice in this car. And again, once we get it up in the air, once you hear this V8 purr, you might be hooked. This thing is so cool. There was no expense spared. It has some of the nicest parts I've ever seen underneath this car. A car of this caliber deserves the nitty-gritty, detailed walk around here. So the main focus of the next couple minutes maybe will be going over all of the details, every nick and every corner. Some of you guys watching this are just doing it to appreciate a cool-ass car and to learn a little bit more. Some might be interested in purchasing this. So let's get into it and go through it. You will see one right around all these headlights here. There's no chips, no nicks anywhere around here. A little fuzzy there. These lights, these lenses are super bright and very cool, very iconic. There is just one little rock chip there with some touch up on it. The chrome everywhere is very nice. Like it just came from the chrome shop, like it just rolled off the dealer floor. This is that nice. It all is straight and tidy. The fitment everywhere is incredibly flush. Very big fan of that. I love when people go, to the extreme with the attention to detail, and this is another example of it. Same with your passenger side headlight lens there. Now, when you come around to the side here, I hope we can capture it on the camera how laser straight and flat this car is. The paint being broken up only by a nice little black pinstripe here. These W140 Mercedes wheels off a newer Mercedes out of the 90s instead of the 70s work very well on this car. Behind those big, beautiful dishes, we have polished up 4-piston front disc brakes, which look very sharp. Again, not a flaw anywhere, guys. In any of this trim, the door gap is stellar. All of the trim down here is very slick. Even the rockers are as straight as ever. Fitting on the door on this end is very nice. I'll show you this opening, and you will again note all the attention to detail in every crevice. I'm even looking at some bright, shiny hardware inside of that door jamb. This is a very nice one. Seals up good, and we continue on. These little fender flares, stock body, but these little fender flares are very clean. I don't feel anything I don't like under here. It feels like nothing but metal. This is a very slick paint job. Whoever did the body work on this one, hats off to you. Whoever built this entire car, hats off to everyone involved. They did a lovely job. You notice how tight the fitment is on the bumpers everywhere. The way that body line comes to an end, they stop the pinstripe just at the right time. These taillight lenses, their little seals, very nice. This Ford badge doesn't look a bit out of place on this car. I love it. I agree with it. They did good. They made the right call. This Mercedes-Benz badge is very nice. Our little fuel cap here is slick. And over to the side, this as well, all good and tidy. And these bumpers too are put on very right. Okay, now the driver tail light. Nothing to complain about. It looks just as good as the rest. And then moving down the driver's side, if we can get a good shot at this and just how flat, how nice the paint is laid. I don't see any dirt in it. This is a very, very high hour, labor intensive paint job, and the body work, all of that is very, very nice. All right, guys, so we're gonna buzz through this interior here real quick before we go and take her for a little cruise. So first, take a look at our instrument panel. We have all VDO gauges in here, a little bit of voodoo. Tech going up to 7,000. A lovely voltmeter. We have our coolant, or water temp, whatever you want to call it. Our oil pressure, our fuel gauge, and our speedometer. This one here, I'll key it on in a second. There's very few miles put on it post this build. All our wood trim from the factory complements our wood wheel very, very nicely. Mercedes badge in here looks very good. I love the speed holes in here with these nice little Allen heads holding it all together. We got AC. It's coming through all sorts of lovely different vents. We got some controls down low. A parking brake down here as well, which works great. You'll see a newer Kenwood head unit in here, excuse me. Next to that, guys, we have a clock in here by the same makers of these gauges. Our glove box, which in here is the lever we're going to use to drop the top. That slips right in here, and then you would pull it on over. Very, very good. We'll seal that up. The paint on there is really nice. All this detail is super cool. And then when do you see real wood in a car? Mercedes was on their stuff back in the day. Now, not only is this top here in really, really lovely shape and all tight, it folds down for you, it tucks away. And then into the back here, we've got room for all sorts of luggage and goodies. And we have a little fire extinguisher in here as well with a nice polished finish on it. Good for racing and all the cool fun stuff. Just gives you that cooler feel in here. Now, reaching down to our Tremec 5-speed transmission, we have a very nice shift knob up here. This thing goes into all the gears very, very nice. That fuel injection wakes this motor right up in a snap. Really, really nice. And all our door cards in here, the A-pillars, the trim everywhere is very good. All our gauges, reading, working. Our mile per hour gauge has come to life. Let's take this thing for a spin. Really like this 5-speed. They're, new parts. They're still putting these in cars today. They go through the gears, very nice. And those disc brakes doing their thing, bringing us to a stop. These coilovers obviously give this thing incredible, handling potential. You could take a corner at 1,000,000 miles per hour, and this thing is going to stay planted. Just spins the tires up. This thing is very, very slick. Back down in a second. It really likes going through those gears, and we got a rather tight turning radius too. All right, guys, so we got this car up in the air. There's a ton of super trick parts in here and a ton of crazy stuff that you wouldn't even imagine seeing underneath the 71 Mercedes here. So we have a custom front K-member here. That's where these big billet aluminum, obviously cut on a CNC front control arms go. So wishbone suspension system here. We have these Alden coilovers. Those are US made. And then if you look right here, just crazy that we even have these billet aluminum dust shields. You take a further look, we have polished billet calipers. Those are by Willwood and all the right good stuff. we have a lovely, lovely power steering rack here. Keep coming on around. You will notice we've got a set of coated BBK headers underneath this thing. We've got a lovely polished U-joint there. All very good. This is a Tremec T5 transmission, a lovely 5-speed, and the exhaust, guys, coming in is two dual 2 1/4s heading into a 3-inch cat back, if you will. We have a catalytic converter here, a lovely 3-inch stainless steel MagnaFlow muffler exiting out the back of this thing through another big old MagnaFlow muffler, giving this thing a killer note. What else do we have here? This rear diff, again, another part that you would never imagine seeing here. We have a quick change rear end, another set of Wilwood quad piston calipers here, have very nice axles. The hubs are all powder coated. These lower arms also powder coated as well. And then again, these Alden dual coilover setup here, one on either side of the axle. This thing is ready to handle. This thing could go to the track. This thing can cruise. This is a very capable car. For daily cruising, they probably went above and beyond, and I dig that. That means you can thrash this car, and obviously it hasn't been for how nice the top side is, but this will take whatever you throw at it. Over here, supplying that lovely Ford fuel-injected motor up front, we have a big Aeromotive A1000 fuel pump, which is very nice. Kind of works as a heat sink as well, those fins on there. Very lovely. And then in the back, this looks like the stock fuel tank, which is good, nothing wrong with that. All good stuff. And then aside from all this lovely bling, we have these very slick Toyo proxies all the way around on these W140 Mercedes wheels, AN lines, nice hardware, a lot of bling. This is a very slick, very well done Mercedes, and I can guarantee you there is not another one like it. All right, guys, thank you for checking this out. We had a ton of fun cruising this thing around. Top down, hair blowing, this V8 growling. Someone is really getting a special ride. If you want to know anything more about it, give us a jingle. The number is 248-714-2110. Lastly, guys, we'll put our email in the description below. We'll put the link to our website full of a ton of cool classic cars, even new collectibles, all the good hot rods. We got a little bit of everything for everyone. As you see behind me, there is nothing that we don't love. All right, guys, thank you. This has been a treat. We will see you in the next one.